Welcome back. We will discuss what is happening in DeFi, what's going on. We will explore together why DeFi is a paradigm shift in the financial industry as we know it today. All right, welcome back on DeFi. Today we're going to have an interview with Julien Bouteloup. Julien Bouteloup is the founder of Stake Capital and Stake DAO. He's also the co-founder of CRV Finance and of REKT News and many other things. He's a developer, DeFi master brain, and investor. And we're going to catch up on the markets, like what has been happening basically since the last time that I spoke to him. I did an interview with Julien before. This is an interview 2 years ago. You can check out that in the link below. And I hope to see you guys on the other side with Julien. We're going to dive into everything and we're going to dive deep into certain topics. And that's what I like to do. All right. So welcome back on DeFi, everybody. It's been a while, and it's also been a while since I spoke to Julien. It's been more than 2 years now that we last spoke. The last time we spoke, we were in the start of a crypto DeFi summer and the start of this kind of fake bull market, I would say.
Yeah.
Now looking at everything that happened, but I think when we last spoke, it was still the real price action that we were witnessing. So first off, how have you been, Julien, and how are you feeling?
Yeah, thanks. First, thanks for having me. Well,
Thank you.
I think so far so good. It's been some 2 years, like interesting 2 years, and the space has evolved a lot over the past 2 years. Kind of like almost like a new industry. But yeah, so far so good.
Mm-hmm.
Still alive, so it's good.
Well, alive and kicking, I would say. We'll talk about that a lot. But first, like, what is your overall overview of the DeFi and crypto markets? How would you summarize the sentiment? Are we will we see a lot of more contagion, or do you feel that finally we can go back to more like fundamental value? What do you think? What do you think about the markets now, and how do you feel? How do you see the future?
Well, I would say that the market from 2 years ago, during this DeFi bull run, was mostly driven by a lot of bullshit, a lot of unnecessary type of products that were just there because of some very high inflationary type of projects, and this was the euphoria of the ecosystem to get those very high yield but not intrinsic value, and I would say that it was the majority of those people that were building in the space, but still had 1 or 2% of the population of the builders that had built some very strong project and today are still there among all the others that have failed or disappeared or red pool. And I think back in a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, there was this huge concept of investing in projects that were mostly driven by, as mentioned before, unnecessary type of things that were not actually providing any value, but just there for either cloud chasing or just attracting more users, and driven by some very what I call them pseudo influencers that have by now disappeared or have registered in Dubai and rug pull the entire ecosystem. Today's a different place, and now we have more people are investing or are looking into projects that are providing value back to the ecosystem and solving actually problems. 2 years ago, it was more about creating a problem that we don't have and finding a solution to the problem that was created. Today is different. Today is how we can bring intrinsic value to this ecosystem by building some of the tools that will be driving the society of tomorrow. So this is like mostly copy of traditional financial system that bringing those tools into the decentralized financial ecosystem. But yeah, with intrinsic value, starting from auto market maker to lending marketplace to optimizer of treasury or portfolios. This is basically where we are at the moment.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I think also basically what happened is like traditional finance and regulated structures and all these like things got siphoned into our industry too much, and we give too much trust to some people that we shouldn't have trusted. And we should just go back to the roots of the don't trust, verify, right? And I think that's the base of the technology,
Exactly.
where we shouldn't trust any Sam Bankman-Fried FTX, or no, we shouldn't trust anything. It's just like very simple. We have a technology, so we don't need to have trust. So, and I think we go back to the core technology, which we also spoke about 2 years ago. Like, yeah, we can verify things, but it's all very new. So I think it's very standard in the cycle to just go overhype.
Yeah, and also the fact that some people in the space are able to drive and amplify to serve their personal interest or their own agenda. You mentioned some names like Sam, or you have like many different things that were operating some centralized piece of uh, software, like companies that were having like some centralized exchanges going from like also VCs to Euro Capital, Celsius, Voyager, and now FTX with SBF. But also some people in DeFi, without mentioning name, but for example, Andre Cronje and all these different people
Yeah.
that have caused enormous amount of pain and harm the ecosystem. And a lot of people have lost faith in DeFi, but also have lost a lot of money, because it's always the same thing: is people, they can commit crime, they can once, but then they come back and people still follow them and still invest. But this ecosystem is about security, is about building and making this environment more secure and also more transparent. If one of those projects, they don't actually respect the build process, which is you build something, you have to audit. It takes time, it takes months before having something. Anyone can build any project. If you don't audit the project, it's very easy to build something that will solve a problem. But if it's not audited, the audit phase or making sure the project doesn't rug pull or is not at risk is 98 of the project. It's 90%. The idea is like it's just very small. The idea is like less than, normally in traditional finance we say that the idea is 8% of a project. Well, in DeFi the idea is very small. The idea, because it's mostly a copycat of the traditional finance. It's more about the power execution, how you realize this project to be able to serve a purpose and to serve retail in a very, very secure environment, which is very complex and very difficult.
Yeah, and yes, well, I would say there is a lot of new primitives possible as well. Also, looking at all the things that you're building or all the things that we're seeing, that I see a lot of new kind of structures, but it's all kind of like wrapped what we already have in a different way, but then trustless, right? Like that's the power of DeFi. We shouldn't, in our last interview, we talked a lot about the need for real world assets on chain. And how do you see that? You still believe that that's the only way to make real yields, or do you think we can rely on our own ecosystem, or do we need to bring outside real world assets in, or can we have more like a standalone markets where we just wrap some CeFi products, maybe tokenize that, or do we need to increase those real world assets bridges? What do you think?
Well, the DeFi space, if you look at the macro level, DeFi is very small. DeFi used to be around $2 trillion market, and now we're talking about a little bit less than 1 trillion, probably like 800 billions. I'm not following the numbers, but what recently happened in the ecosystem, because of all those people that have nothing to do with DeFi, but manage somehow again to rug pull the ecosystem and also diminish or remove the trust that a lot of people have put it in DeFi. But if you look at again at the macro level, I would say that the FX market, they are doing between 5 and 6 trillion US dollars volume per day. In DeFi, we're talking about in financial market, 5-6 trillion on the FX market, but the market share of finance is way bigger than that. So in terms of percentage, it sounds like a huge number, but in terms of percentage, not necessarily high. But in DeFi, because we have 800 billion US dollars assets, and we probably make in a DeFi space something like utilizations of this less than maybe 1% or between 1 and 3%. So being able to make like 10 billion US dollars volume per day. Curve is doing between 500 and 3 billion, depending on days. Uniswap. So all those different DeFi products, they are making a couple of billion US dollar volume per day, but still really a drop in the oceans of financial primitive in the world. So in order to bring DeFi to the next phase, it's DeFi to bridge with traditional market, and this is the only way. This is how you can tap into a multi-trillion US dollars market. And this is like by bringing some real world assets. It can be like some exotic products such as bonds and debts and all different things, or some like real estate, like some real estate assets and different things like this. But that's the only way. So it's more about working together with regulators and traditional finance and decentralized finance to solve existing problems that traditional finance is not able to provide, which is some of them, some primitives, transparency, privacy, scalability on some different technology. This is what traditional finance can use from DeFi. And in the DeFi space, being able to provide those tools to the broader audience. So more people in the world that don't necessarily have access to existing traditional finance. So they see in DeFi a way for them to access those services. This is really what we are trying to build as a community. And in order to make DeFi to the mass adoption, it will need to come from those projects that we don't necessarily share the same ethos or the same vision, which is TikTok, Instagram, and all these different tools that will bring blockchain or NFTs or whatever we're talking about in the blockchain space to the retail without them understanding what is actually behind. They don't need to understand what's those tools based on. It's the same as when you're using internet, HTTP, or using SMS, email, SMTP, and all different things. It's exactly the same. So we really need to see this ecosystem as a protocol, as a piece of technology that can solve a real-world problem. This is and unless we focus on that, we'll not be able to bring this DeFi into the next level.
Yes, I fully agree. You just need to see like how do we do that in a way so that we don't bring in any more frauds and scammers too much that will just
that's why. Sorry, I cut you. Sorry.
No, go for it.
No, the people, it's always the same. Like I've been in this space for quite some time. Like feel like forever, but it's always better to have those things happen today than later. Because if the vision of DeFi is to capture more market shares, it will mean that it will be bigger and have more people, vulnerable people that also can use this technology. So we need to make sure the technology that we provide, if the vision of this technology is to be completely trustless, transparent, and more secure, then it means that anyone can actually use this technology. So at the end, if we fail as a technology to say, okay, but those actors have nothing to do with DeFi, for example, like FTX, they can lend some asset in DeFi, borrow against those assets, against speculative asset, then use traditional finance to leverage their treasury that is based on speculative asset. The same happened in 2008, 2009 with the subprime crisis that collapsed the worldwide economy. Well, the thing is like, how can we make this space with accepting all those actors that have bad intentions and probably like criminal records, potentially to be able to use the technology because this technology is trustless and can be accessible for all, but to protect ourselves against those type of behaviors. So, and the way to do that, because we don't necessarily have access to the book or the accountability on their side, is to basically call them out to say using, and this is what the space is scared of, like what CZ is doing. And CZ, I was criticizing SBF 2 years ago. I did a video on REKT News, and people said, Julien, you're crazy, Julien. Yeah, you're saying SBF maybe using the fund from FTX to leverage on Alameda Research and to be do stuff on the DeFi space. The reason for that is because we saw those activity on Alameda Research. Alameda Research was so good on the market that yes, of course, you have some people that are very good in the company, but to have this accessibility to this amount of money, it has to come from somewhere. So we were trying to discuss it. We're trying to bring the subject to the table. But again, the community attacked us and said, this is not possible. And the thing that we're doing today, let's not reproduce the mistake of yesterday if we want to move forward with the future of tomorrow. And the thing is, like, for example, like CZ and Binance, we have to call them out. They're doing things that SBF used to do. Now it's like trying to inject capital to rebuy a company and to inject funds. But the thing is, like, those people, they don't share the same vision as us. They're building companies that are fully centralized and leveraging the technology of DeFi to accelerate their own personal gain. And this is something that we have to be scared of. This is something that we have to call them out. And we say, okay, maybe Binance is the only way for retail at the moment to access financial products and financial parameters, because the UX and the UI of DeFi is failing, and we haven't built the technology for them to be able to use it without the need of them understanding the complexity of those different protocols. So maybe those centralized exchanges, they are solving a problem. They are solving the adoptions problem. But at the same time, we have to make sure that those people understand the risk associated with those platforms. And again, I feel like now, like FTX failed and Sam is having some big trouble. We say, and then CZ is announcing like $1 or $2 billion US financing for projects that are failing, and the ecosystem is congratulating him. He's like, oh, this is the God. God is going to save us. But God doesn't come from centralized exchanges. He has to come from DeFi. People that are building the piece of software, the infrastructure for transparency, for privacy, and for scalability. And this is very important. I'm not saying it's probably bad or whatever. I'm saying this is not from the pragmatic Cartesian approach. When you look at the technology, this is not us. This is not what we're building.
No.
He has built a centralized exchange to redistribute the entire amount of profits to himself, which is not what we're building in DeFi.
I think we should lose the God syndrome, right? Like we should let go of any gods, like Andre Cronje, Julien Bouteloup, like their brands. There's no gods. There, no CZ, no Sam. Nobody is a god.
No.
Nobody.
You have
everything.
builders. You have builders in the industry that are building piece of software, and you need to judge them on the thing that they are.
Of course, but no god.
Yeah,
syndrome.
if they're building something that makes sense and is in the ethos of this ecosystem, then you can have respect for them. But we need to judge them on the actions. We need to judge them on the project that you're building. Is those project actually solving a problem? And then whatever they're saying, always cross-check with the thing that they have built. If someone is building a centralized exchange and don't distribute the value back to the users, but saying that DeFi is the future and DeFi is, well, there's a paradox. There's a paradox.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And I think that what we need to do is let go of, as I said before, we need to let go of a God syndrome. And I'm looking forward to let CC also live up to his promises with his proof of reserves that he is doing in collaboration with Vitalik. I would like to see that. I didn't see that they did it yet, but I hope they do it. So that would be a step in a good direction, of course. But that shouldn't be
it's like
standard.
It's like when you said, I don't respect project using their own token to borrow or to incentivize actions on their project. That's true. Yeah. BNB wasn't used for that. I mean, this is kind of like really, this is very funny. I mean, BNB was actually used in the same way that FTX did. Exactly the same way. Yes. When you look at the history of the creation of Binance, when they used the token, was this. So
they just got away with it, right? They got away with it. The bubble didn't blow up. And Sam's bubble, Sam was obvious scammer, like much bigger.
Fake it. I'm not sure. I mean, FTX was actually by an order of magnitude way better than Binance in order of technology. If you were a trader, if you were someone that understands finance, you were a user of FTX, not Binance. FTX was built
Yeah, unfortunately, I was using FTX myself because the matching engine that FTX uses was amazing, right? Like if you do
Yeah,
trades
you
and
can
everything.
criticize. You can now. It's always good. It's always easy to do back trading and criticize the guy. But because we didn't know, you couldn't know, and you don't know what you don't know. But in terms of technology of the platform, it was the best outside. It was the best out there. It was the best exchange platform, centralized exchange platform, and especially for advanced traders, options, future, perps, or whatever you call them. It was the best, and the technology and the team was really good. But yeah, I think the guy got money went to his head, and then he got a mix between lobbying and power and politics and all different things. It's never a good combo. I'm not sure about his intention. Was apparently I saw some message that he was planned to do those type of things. Didn't really believe in old altruism, and he said that was just for a way for him to have a good message. I hope this is not the case, because I believe that was this. But that's the thing. If, and I want to reiterate this, if among all those people that I felt, they said they were doing something, but apparently was not the case, how come or how very likely are the odds of CZ and Binance doing the same is really close to them? And this is what we have to follow: pragmatism and statistics. And
Yeah, we need to
don't let
demand
your
full
own feelings.
transparency. Yeah,
Exactly.
we,
It's easy to be
yeah,
transparent. Like, why don't you share the financial of Binance to the world? Open the books. Why don't you? What do
yeah,
you need to do? Like in those very complex Twitter message about I'm working with Vitalik to provide proof of reserve or whatever. Just open the book. Let the people audit. PwC, some other external auditors. Why don't you do that? And let them create this piece of reports that can say that what you're seeing is actually the reality. In blockchain and DeFi, you cannot lie. The stats and the information is on chain. You can say something. For example, I was talking yesterday to a panel, and the guy said, our traction in the application that we have built is phenomenal. We are now getting many users. I look at the contract, and the contract doesn't say that. So either he's getting the user from a different contract, but there's something fishy. And I said that, and he couldn't answer. The problem is, like, whatever you say in this space, if it's actually something that is built using the technology of transparency, then the information is transparent.
yeah. And I think we can be a bit more aggressive of calling out the bad projects and putting the good projects on a better light, giving the projects that actually keep on building through all this shit that's happening, having enough everything that he's doing, they should get more praise, and the bad projects should we can I think we can, looking at everything that happened, I actually myself I went a little bit more quiet because of the whole UST thing. I was calling it out so many people. I got all like, oh my god, some of my friends lost money. I didn't lose any money because I was like, this is a scam, obviously. But everybody was calling me stupid.
It's not, yeah, it's a Ponzi. Yeah, yeah.
It's a Ponzi.
It's a Ponzi scam, a Ponzi scam. Then it's difficult. The
I would say
bias
a
of
Ponzi is
this,
a scam.
yeah,
But
criminals activity. But yeah, I mean, in REKT News, myself on Twitter, we want and we attack Terra and all this stuff. And then what you get from the community is, no, you're stupid. Please stop the FUD. Please stop the FUD. People don't want to. They need to. That's what you said before. The statement: don't trust, verify. Always tell yourself this is not true, and you come to the conclusion this is true after checking the information, but not the opposite. Don't start from being true and then end up maybe being wrong. Always say this is wrong. I will convince myself by those approach of analysis, reports, and making sure I dig the information. Then I come to the conclusion, okay, this is true. Always in this space, always say to yourself, I want to understand why. And don't believe people that are selling some tokens, that are selling some product online without you verifying the information, because it means that they are selling you their bag. They bought it cheaper and they sell it to you. And this is wrong. This is wrong.
Yeah, and I think REKT is doing an amazing job calling out all the scammers, and also, with the crypto risk, and we're trying to do our best. The problem is that a scammer can very easily say, I'm the best, here's 1000% yield, and they make money and they don't have to do that much. Like, to break a scam, it's really hard because you kind of need to do research and need to come with like in-depth papers and some stuff, but it's actually
the
for me it's
that's
simple.
true, and
But
that's
for people that are in the scam, it's hard to pull them out.
It's only for 1%. It's only for 1% of population. That's why I don't like the concept of people saying not your key, not your crypto. Because yeah, this is true for 1% of population. But what about the 99% that people have difficulties remembering their password of their phone or password of Facebook? How can you tell them you need to own your key in your ledger for you to not be wrecked? I mean, we can still build software or banking or custodial solutions that will protect the user. And at the end, you can have the guarantee to withdraw your fund if you want. So you have multi-signature wallet, you have social recovery. But the fact of having your own private key, what? You want people to wait outside your house and come and try to put a knife under your throat because they know that you have the private key accessing multi-million US dollars. This is dangerous. So we need to make sure that we're talking to 99% of populations. We need to make sure we also call people out when they're not building. As the problem is, like, some of the people in the industry, they only, and that's unfortunate, it's human behaviors, but they're only interested in the economical value, in them becoming rich quick. And that's why we create the video called Ultra Volatile, which is like basically telling the sarcasm of this industry about like the get rich quick. But if you are in this industry building and participating in some major pillars of those projects that will change the world of tomorrow, you don't need to be worried about being rich, because you will become. If you stay there, it's a long path. It's not, if you want to become rich quick, this is like the same as going into a casino, put everything in a color and then expect to become rich. But this ecosystem is about building the future of tomorrow. So that's what we have to be. It's a long process, but it's also a safe process. So yeah, so we have to listen, we have to read information. And for those people that cannot or don't have time or don't have the capacity to understand the thing that we're building, we need to have some strong actors such as REKT and some other people in the industry that are working towards bringing transparency and also making this space a safer ecosystem. And also follow the ones that have been here for a long time, the one that don't chase the cloud chasing. Yes, building in the ecosystem takes time. It can take 6 months, a year. You need to audit, and sometimes audit takes, it's by order of magnitude, by 1 or 2, auditing and making sure the security of project is actually more difficult than building the project. So someone can actually build some smart contract in a couple of weeks, but it can take 8 months or 6 months to audit and making sure this is safe. So follow the project that don't actually go super fast, but they've been building. And for example, in StakeDAO, we are the first one to introduce a clear transparency of the information of what the strategy was doing before. If you look at the original idea of the UI, we had the descriptions of the strategy. Now everyone is doing it in the space. Now you have also other project. I mean, so always follow the one that I built, not necessarily super fast. Super fast means wrecked end in the space. So follow the big builders, Curve, Aave, Frax, Angle, Morpho, StakeDAO, REKT, Blackpool, people that have been here for a long time, that their trust is more important than the speed of building things.
Yes. Yeah, the long run always wins, right? Like I think the ultraviolet, I will link it in the show notes. The ultraviolet video, as always, perfectly describes. I think
we called and we always, this was the day before the collapse of FTX, the ultra volatile.
Oh wow!
We did a farm dump right before the collapse of Three Arrow Capital and those things. So I think we have access to some alpha in the industry.
When is the next video coming out? I hope it's more like
We're building it. Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
It's amazing, man. It's really, really, really good content. Yeah, and so circling back to, like, as you said, like you're focusing also in the other interview. I will link that in the intro and in the where we talk about a lot of things that you were building already 2 years ago, and you actually followed up very nicely. REKT, StakeDAO, and Blackpool. I think these are the main three focuses.
Well, I have the family office where we invest in people that are building the future of tomorrow. So meaning, like, we invest in builders, we invest in people mostly in mathematics stuff. So we also have a lot of French projects, and also have the quant. The quant is the desk We do some activity on the space, liquidations, arbitrage, market making, all those different things. And among the people that have failed, we're one of the few ones that have and still standing up. So I would say we are, I'm touching wood, but we are following some good process, or maybe we stick to the value about providing value back to the ecosystem and following the vision and also our own value. About not don't get stupid, don't over leverage or don't leverage on speculative assets. Even the type of things that people are doing is because of cloud chasing. They want to end up being the one that everyone talks about and the one that they want to be at the same table as Elon Musk or something, or whatever. The thing is, like, those people, they cloud chaser, and then they end up wrecked. They disappear for a couple of months, and then they come back saying, "Oh, I've got this new project. I've changed. Please follow me. Please, army of people that want to. Oh, I've deployed this project. Oh, I didn't see it was deployed for my public ENS domain name. Oh, people recognize it. Oh no. And then you deposit inside. Oh, it's not actually the purpose of this. Don't believe in this. Don't believe in this. This will hurt you. Yeah. Only get involved in projects that are constantly building and shipping in the ecosystem with good values.
Exactly. It's very hard to point those things out. But what I like with StakeDAO, it's very clear, and you have also an amazing like academy, like StakeDAO Academy, and there is StakeDAO strategies that you can follow.
Liquid
even if you have-
lockers. Yeah, it took us some time. It took us some time to find the market shares. Now we have liquid lockers that I think among the top projects that are providing intrinsic value by building those very complex strategy, but also using tokenomics like governance tokens to be able to boost but it's intrinsic value. We don't actually based on inflationary project. And then we have the Votemarket. Votemarket is trying to build a lobby, trying to build a buy mechanism where your excess of voting power can actually be used by other projects. And what we do, but among those projects, that's the reason I start StakeDAO to help, because I'm also in Curve project, is to basically control or make sure that the future of Curve can always be shipped and not necessarily trying to always compete with the people that have acquired a huge amount of governance. Because some people that have external interest might actually short or medium term not necessarily align with the interest of the builders that are shipping this project. So it is important that we position StakeDAO and us accumulating governance power to help those projects. So we are backing up Curve, Ngo, Frax, AP1, Blackpool, all those different projects. So we work closely with those builders, the core team, to be able to say, okay, what do you need from us? We have a huge amount of governance power on your project. What do you need? We'll do a mix between providing value back to our users, but more importantly, respecting your vision. And that's really the difference between other projects. For example, we'll let users also keep their governance power if they need, or they can delegate the governance power to us. And between delegating the entire voting power to make an APY at 50%, or to make the APY at 30%, which 30% is less, but if 30% respect the vision of the product, we'll go for this one.
Yeah, I really like the liquid lockers, and what I really like to see now is that you have the Y curve boost, you have the liquid lockers from StakeDAO, we have Convex, and I think it's really cool to see this whole ecosystem like kind of like trying to boost the best implementation of this, and I think there will
at the end
will be more.
Yeah, we want more. We want more people that compete with Convex. We want to be more people that work with Convex. What we want is to have us, StakeDAO, Convex, Frax, Angle, all those different products that are building value back to people that can work together. They might have some difference on incentive and interest, not necessarily all aligned, but we can all work together because at the end, what we're trying to build is something that will solve problems and give solution to people. And one of our competitor is not actually internal product. It's more like traditional financial products that are doing criminal activities that are not providing value back to people, that are the ones that we need to fight against. Or maybe work together on regulations and work together how to we build this as a safety safety ecosystem, as a safe ecosystem.
Exactly, and for everybody who's watching, like liquid lockers, in the intro, I will show a little bit more in depth, or to like how that works. It's really straightforward, but also very complex. If I try to explain to people that don't know anything about Curve or anything about like VE token economics, like, oh, here you have a token, you stake your token. It's very hard to explain, but mostly how I explain it to people that don't know anything about Curve, I say like, look, you just tokenize your voting, you tokenize your voting power, and you buy a part of in a protocol, and you can tokenize your voting power, and then you can delegate that and auto compound that, etc., etc. It's like it mimics the real world, in my opinion. It's like you vote for a senator, and then the senator, like, you can delegate to a senator or not, or it's all how a lot of current politics work in the world, but then it's all like kind of automated and tokenized. That's how I see it.
I mean, well, first coming back to liquid lockers or Votemarket, I would say that Votemarket is more for retail, and liquid lockers is not necessarily for retail. It's more for asset manager and people that understand very well DeFi, so whales and people that spend their entire time on DeFi. What we are building is a kind of like a simple app on top of liquid lockers, as simple as using Uniswap or whatever. One asset, one yield. That is something that will be built. So liquid lockers and Votemarket are very protocols, and what we want is to incentivize. We want other people to build on top because our complex piece of protocols. If you look at liquid lockers, this is complex. You need to choose the right strategy. You need to have the correct bribes and the correct boost. We also build an optimizer of asset management. So you have like this spider graph where you can understand this is complex. What we want is to build a simple app on top of, and we'll be the first one to build it, but we also want other people to build. Coming back to the bribe ecosystem in the lobby, I would say that short term, this is a solution that we have came up with, and actually not something new. This is exactly a copy of the existing system in the traditional financial system, where you have lobbying and European Commission's Parliament that go, those lobbyists outside go and then direct decisions. And this is actually very bad. So short term in DeFi, what we need is to find a system that will be able to get some governance power, but this governance power in the hand of people that believe in the visions of the protocol and help those builders to achieve what they want to build. And at the moment, we are on the edge of having people that accumulate governance power for economic reason, short-term plan, and not necessarily long-term help. So we need to find a way that, and people come up with different like quadratic voting and one vote, one ID, one vote. But if you do like identification system, this is like mass surveillance. You end up with the system about, okay, you basically have one person that is identified online. And understand this is very bad. So it's like building. That's what we're trying to do. We stay down. It's like trying to accumulate sufficient power, not everything, of course. Also incentivize others to build similar project that we have built. And this is exactly what we very different from other actors before. We saw some actors that were trying to concentrate the message about, oh, they are doing everything and they are the best and we need to use everything. I'm thinking about Jörn, for example. They were not inclusive, they were exclusive. They didn't want others to work with them. They were doing like very aggressive in the market. I think DeFi is the opposite. DeFi is DeFi Lego. Everything you build, you want competitors of yourself because you don't want to accumulate. Your market is different than other people's market, and you have targeting a different community. If we have projects that have and englobe all those different communities, they have different interests, and this is where you can find a balance. The worst will be having one actor that controls the entire governance power, because then they can direct whatever happens in the market. But if you have multiple different, if you have like a lot of stake DAO, a lot of convex, a lot of Frax, a lot of Angle, a lot of these different projects, then they find equilibrium about the different interests, and this is how they can drive the ecosystem further and flourish. and this is very important, be inclusive and incentivize DeFi Lego among the opposite of being exclusive and control the power, because exclusive and control the power, we already have it. This is called traditional finance.
Yeah, exactly. And how do you see because we have, for example, V balancer, we have VCRV, we have maybe a lot of other V models I think will come in the future. I like the model, but how do you see, for example, AMMs is one vertical, right? So we have balancer and curve now competing for, like, hey, you spend $1 in quests or bribes, or however you want to call them, right? And the quests or bribes, they give you in return, they give you liquidity, right? But I would say, like, it's very hard to calculate, right? Because it seems in balancer that you get more APY, right, for your dollar spent, but do you get more liquidity? I think it could be a potential race to the bottom, right? When curve incentives run out, you will get another one maybe. I don't know. I think it's an experiment.
That's what we built. That's what we built. I mean, we built like Votemarket. I think we're the first one on the market to provide such a technology, which is like you excess of voting power. When you delegate the voting power, can actually be used for other things. So you can actually split your voting power among different strategies or different way of directing the inflations, the incentive of a protocol. I would say like VE tokenomics are 2 years old, and in this ecosystem, having something that is old by 2 years, it's very old because the space is shipping a lot and very fast and a lot of different products. So I would say that those tokenomics will need to change to adapt to the market and have more flexibility across all the different tools that we're building. So maybe this is not the best model. This is the model that we are using today because it's actually answering a problem, and we can incentivize. We can proportionally redirect the good incentivizations among all the people that are building and providing back value to those projects. So it's a good tool for DeFi Lego and also competitors, and having equilibrium among all those people that are trying to compete with each other. This is very nice. But is it the solution of tomorrow? Probably not. So that's what we constantly trying to look into a mechanism. With the Votemarket, we actually spent a year developing the maths and the technology, and how this is actually a very complex protocol. It's built on view tokenomics model, but maybe this model will change. And this is always what we do. Never, as soon as you end up saying, this is what it is, this is where you become a maximalist. And it's exactly the situation of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, they say, this is the protocol, this is the best, we don't want to change it, this is how it is. But if Satoshi Nakamoto had the same way of thinking, he would have never created Bitcoin. It's always try to bring and solve a problem. And today, if we tell ourselves this is the best, then this is actually when you enter into those failure and maxi way of thinking, which is very dangerous.
Yeah, to summarize, the votemarket.stakedar.org, right? Like, basically it aggregates like the curve, balancer, frax, and angel protocol in one simple interface. And if I have like CRV, VE-CRV, I can go here and I vote just via CRV or via the balancer or frax or angel, and then I can claim the rewards via votemarket.stakedar.org, right?
Yeah, it's a place for all the bribes. It's not only for StakeDAO, it's also for competitors. You see, like I said that we need to work all together, but I also show it. It's like if you go to Votemarket, you can see competitors. You can see Paladin, you can see Votium, you can see yearn bribe mechanisms. What we do, we list all the bribes in a single place, but then we also demonstrate and we also show that our solution of the bribes of the lobby or $1 spent to acquire voting power is the best. And we show not by saying it, we show by showing the numbers that you can verify yourself on chain. This is like, don't trust us, always verify. And look, we also provide you the link and the information for you to verify that if you spend $1 inside this one, you will acquire that type of VU token lobbying on that protocol. And if you have too much voting power, you can also split that voting power among different things. You are flexible. You can always change to the last minute. And you can also, so it's flexibility in order to bring and solve different problems in the industry. but we also list everyone, so everyone can also choose. If you say, okay, maybe I prefer paying a little bit more, then I will use something else. Okay, please feel free. This is freedom at the end. You can decide whatever you want to do.
I think the calculations are quite hard, right? Like I had some discussions, and I tried to calculate, like if I spend $1 on bribes at CRV or at Balancer or maybe something else, like how do you? It's kind of hard to know for sure. I think, right? There's a lot of like
No, we know for
unknowns.
sure. No, we know for sure. We also deployed the white paper that explain the mathematics and how we make the calculations with those integrals and for short term, 1 week or 2 weeks. And also in Votemaker, you can decide for how long you want to distribute those rewards among all the people that are voting for you, of doing a voting for a special pool. So everything is super clear, and the maths are there. So it's up to you to choose, and you can go and you can verify the mathematics and verify on chain how we calculate the voting power.
And that's in collaboration with Warden, right? Or
Not in collaboration, but we list also Warden.
okay.
They have built something, but they, I think, have limited. The technology is a little bit limited. They were also building and increasing the technology. So we have built our own vibe system because we thought that it was not enough for what we wanted to achieve.
That's amazing. I will link, if you can send me the paper of those calculations in the chat. I didn't read that yet, so I will read that, and then I will also link that in
Yeah, sure. I can show you now.
comments below. Awesome. Yeah, it's a fascinating. I think it's fascinating what will happen to the VE token economics. I think I really like your view on it. Like we need to be open because it's 2 years old, so that's old in DeFi, but since DeFi moves so fast, things change very fast. So we might have to make changes to things or update certain incentives. But at the same time, there's also something to say about protocols that harden, like something like a curve or also a balancer that is they're hardening into like a clear, okay, this is curve, this is what you get, you know what you're gonna get, this is the incentives, this is how it works. It's kind of set in stone, right? There's no weird curveballs or weird things that can go wrong. So you have more certainty, but it's maybe less efficient, I guess. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Is there so your view is that we will get a lot of new VE token economic models, and you think that balancer or curve, there's not really, you think there will be one winner because they are both competing now with incentives. How do you see that? Will there be one winner, or you think they will both kind of always stay relevant with different incentives, or how do you see that?
Well, yes. I think the only way for them to be relevant is to be integrated with the. As at the end of the day, if you're integrated with like DEX aggregator such as 1ETH or Paraswap, and then on top of it like CalSwap and different things. I mean, at the end of this project, if DeFi is solving and for the mass, some like, is providing this technology to the mass, at the end, those people will not actually use those protocol on the UI directly. For now, it's only because we are builders and we use Curve directly, we use Balancer directly or whatever. But at the end, the people will be using. I mean, I would say like 90% of all the volume and the activity will come from products. So what I call layer 3 solutions, which is like I'm using Twitter. I want to pay someone, then the Twitter protocol will be using 20% of Curve and 10% of Balancer plus 80% on something. So, and it's only like this will majority of the volume will come from there. It will not come from the people using directly those tools, because at the end, you're using those tools to have something. If you want to do an OTC, if you want to do an investment, then it's probably at the bank or something will be using it. But yourself, when you go to swap assets yourself, because you're doing them for something, either it's an investment, so you can actually use an investment app, or it's to send money to someone. So you can use an app that sends money to someone. So it can be directly integrated into Frame wallets, or it can be like into Twitter or maybe Instagram. You need to buy an NFT for your profile. You will not go to to OpenSea or to Gem to swap this NFT. You just stay on the Instagram app, and the Instagram app will use this protocol. Like today, when you send money to someone with Visa or MasterCard, well, you don't know this is actually using Swift. Swift is the underlying protocol that can allow you to make those things happen. It will be the same in the DeFi space. Exactly the
So
same.
you basically say that Balancer and Curve need to stay innovative with the money that they generate, like CRV USD, for example, is good for CRV. Or a
Those
Balancer.
protocols they need to keep innovation high in order to survive, because you have other people that come into the space that are solving some of those problems. For example, I'm thinking about swap finance. Swap finance at the moment is one of the best place to swap asset below $100, and it's probably better than Curve or better than Balancer. For $100, it's better because providing liquidity there, you're not impacted by the impairment loss and the slippage. So it's nice, but it's only for now below $100. They are working on something like below $5,000 swap, but Mangrove is the place.
Swap finance, you're saying, right?
Yeah, swap SWAAP, swap finance.
Okay, sorry. And the other one, Mangrove. Yeah, continue.
Mangrove is like something that instead of you going, I'm a big fan and they are my friend Ave, but if you think about it, like we have CowSwap or we have like Dex Aggregator. For you as a user, you go there because what's it called? They are managing the distribution of your swap. So instead of swapping 100% into one pool, they will split it and they will use the pool that is the best optimized for your swap. So at the end, you're losing less money by making the swap. But you can have the same in the lending market. Why depositing everything into one side, into Aave or something? What about optimizing this lending process and the borrowing power you can get? So, for example, Morpho. I'm not sure if it's that finance, but it's Morpho Labs. Yeah, Morpho Finance. Morpho.xyz. That's one they are. And for the record,
yes.
I'm also investors in the project, so don't take it as investment recommendations. I'm just saying. And also, you have like, for example, CarSwap. I'm not a direct investor, so I just mentioned it because it's really good.
Yeah, but CarSwap potentially routes via Curve or via Balancer or other things.
Exactly. But they also have no. This is the difference. Morpho, CarSwap, and other products like that. They also use external traditional financial activity, which is market maker. So in Morpho, you have market maker that can fill up this a little bit of space that I've left, because sometimes when you do a swap, if you do a swap of $10,000, then maybe 8,000 is maximum optimization. But if you go to 10,000, then you get a slippage. So what about using those 2,000 outside and swapping them from outside? It makes more sense. You have 8,000. If you swap too much, then the pool gets unpegged and you have a negative slippage. So just swap the maximum for you to have positive slippage, and then use the remaining to another software that will give you also positive slippage. So at the end, you swap for maximum. The problem is like some people, some tools are stupid. They say, okay, you want to swap 8,000, boom, I go for the one shop. And then you get a negative slippage. This is the same with lending market. Maybe borrowing asset, you can borrow 50,000 against some assets, but maybe if you borrow 50,000, then you increase your APY, your borrowing interest. What about borrowing 40,000 from this and 10,000 from another one? This is how you do that. And those are tools. It's the same in the traditional finance. You have tools that will optimize the routing. Maybe getting a flight from here to Sydney, maybe it's good with one airline, but then it's a second airline. But then if you go to one shop airline, they will tell you, no, come to us. This is the best. It's 3 times more expensive. Well, maybe if you go Qantas plus Air France, you get the best, and it's 3 times cheaper, but you also get the direction at the place in a 3 times faster. It's 3 times cheaper, 3 times faster. And that's what you do.
Yeah, and I think there's many factors at play there, right? Like you have, I don't know if that's the right one, but there's one that's like CarSwap is a coincidence of once, but then it's more decentralized than something like I don't sure if it's Hashflow or something else where they do basically two market makers matching two market makers together, which is a bit more centralized, right? So it's like, yeah, there's always so many trade-offs and so many new protocols that are constantly happening. And what I do like to see, like, to also, to also close on the interview, there's a lot of really amazing new projects happening, because there's a lot of money, I think, still in the industry, right? There's a lot of money has been raised, a lot of projects have been funded.
You have, that's the point. You have like, the cake is so big that you have a place for everyone. It doesn't make sense to fight among each other if the project that you're building is actually very truly innovative, and let the project flourish, because at the end it's taking a
Yes.
piece of the cake. You cannot take yourself the entire cake, and also you don't want this, because then you feel yourself alone and you cannot really chill and share adventure all together. So yeah, just let others build some amazing piece of technology that will solve a lot of different problems, and this is what we want: incentivize builders to build and ship, and eliminate the scammers and the cloud chaser that are just there for personal gain and short-term plan, and they are affecting us. So it's about time the ecosystem and the community raise the voice to call them out, all those people that have been harming us and will continue if we don't stop them.
Yes. So and yeah, I fully agree. So let's call out the scammers harder, everybody, and put the good projects on a more high pedestal, like StakeDAO, Curve. You mentioned Balancer. You mentioned uh, there's Frax and Angel Protocol. Is there any other projects that we need to look into to potentially explore as an industry to harden our knowledge?
Well, I think you have like some existing players that, of course, they are always good to use, and they are there, been there for quite some time. Curve, Aave, Frax, TakeDAO, whatsoever. You have new players that have been here for a year, and a year in this space is quite a lot, but they are building like some of the best builders in the space. For, I would say, like, for example, Angel Protocol, like stablecoin, fully algorithmic stablecoin using algorithmic like futures style to manage the peg of the pool.
Yes.
You have like something like Morpho for lending market, or swaps for small swaps using almost near zero impairment loss as a liquidity provider. This is very good. And then you have other players in DeFi space that are building an amazing piece of technology. I'm not so much involved in layer three, for example, like products, but I'm looking into like access to better wallet. So I would say like Frame is one of my best that I really like, because it's fast and it's also very secure. Yeah, I can send some names after, but I don't want people to take those names
Yes.
as investment recommendations. So that's not something
No,
I
no,
want to
no,
do.
no.
Even if I already,
It's more like
even if I already gave a lot of names.
yeah, we give a lot of names. No, I will link some notes in below. Like, hey, these protocols, check them out. Just out of like your own research purposes to be ready for the potential next bull market, but also harden your own financial sovereignty, to harden your own financial
Yeah,
power of where to what to use and what to look into. And not I think what's important to not necessarily just buy the token, but just use the product, right? Like don't just go to
exactly.
Angel Protocol. I think they have a governance to whatever, but use the protocol. And if you like the protocol, maybe buy the governance token, but only buy the governance token if you really think you want to be part of governance. Just
Well,
that's
normally, if you use the protocol, you will receive for free the governance tokens. So
yeah,
by being
exactly.
that's the difference. By being a user of Binance, you don't actually receive from Binance anything. But being a user of DeFi protocols, you receive a piece of the protocol.
Exactly. And a piece of the responsibility as well. I think that we need to hone that home as well. Like we all, like as a collective, we can have all these governance talk, but if we act stupid, or if we don't actually keep on building, then nothing basically will happen. So it is also a piece of responsibility that
Of
we
course, of course, of course.
argue. Yeah. All right, man. Is there anything that you want to say or want to discuss? We're hitting the hour. Do you want to shout out, or you want to say something?
No, I think so far so good. Um, yeah, I'm free anytime to jump into a call. If you want to ask me questions, don't hesitate and ping me on Twitter. Yes,
Yes.
all good.
Definitely follow Julien, and definitely also follow REKT News on Twitter to, you keep the culture, the grassroots DeFi REKT culture alive. That's amazing. I think it's a very, very good thing that you do that for the space. And as
Well,
everybody
it's
shared,
me, an amazing team. Yeah, of
exactly,
course.
the whole REKT News team with anonymous authors and very, very special, amazing, super highly intelligent and amazing people like working there. Uh, like if you go to the REKT Telegram, you will maybe see them pop up sometime. It's amazing. They're very active, so would definitely recommend reading and participating in the REKT uh, investigation and calling out the scammers, and
Yeah.
lets us on Twitter and any other medium call out also the good sides of the industry. So we will have the solar and lunar punk sides of our industries combined
Let's
and
see.
not somewhere in the middle.
I challenge the industry. Let's see when some of those people come back. Let's see how we welcome them. That will be a good test
Oh my God.
for the industry,
Yeah.
because I think there's
Yeah, we
someone
should have
coming
some
back.
weapons.
He mentioned something. There's something coming back with a project. Let's see how the ecosystem is welcoming this person that has been rug pulling the space for many times now.
Well, I will be ready and calling it out, and I think we all should. I understand. Yeah, let's. I think I know who you mean, but let's see what's gonna happen there. Yes, thank you for coming on the show. It's been amazing. I didn't make videos for a long time, but I wanted
My
to have you on
pleasure.
again, and we're gonna press on forward, and I'm gonna make more videos again because it's getting bear market again. I love it. It's amazing. Build and study
Bear
time.
market
Let's go.
is the best. Yeah, best time for builders to shine.
Exactly,
True,
man. Awesome.
true builders to shine. Yeah.
Let's shine with everybody here. Like everybody here is a builder.
Exactly.
Everybody here
With
is
all the
amazing.
builders,
Let's go.
even the one that not necessarily share the same interest.
Yes.
As long as they are
Keep on building.
builders, we need to
Yeah.
push them.
Yeah, we will make the incentives go in the right directions as everybody wants. Well, it's not us, but it's the protocol. Hail to the protocols.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thank you, Julian.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
See you next time, and peace.
See you.